Starmer, since taking over as Prime Minister, has always made it clear that he wants us back in bed with the EU. Is he Prime Minister has been scurrying around looking to try and do individual deals with other countries, but it's now causing problems with EU officials. In today's video, we will discuss what they have said, whilst also going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Keir Starmer says he wants a close relationship with Europe, but 2 months into his role as Prime Minister, Brussels insiders are sceptical if the Labour leader really means what he says. One insider claimed Starmer's show of unity is a bit of a facade, and is increasingly doubtful that the Prime Minister wants to repair the relationship with Europe. Already, the Prime Minister has taken decisions that have gone down badly in European capitals, such as refusing to establish a youth mobility scheme and rejoin the Erasmus exchange programme. To begin with, there was optimism that the Prime Minister would take a different approach than the previous Tory government, and in terms of rhetoric and mood, it had initially been relatively positive. An EU diplomat who was granted anonymity explained that the government's lack of interest in rejoining the Erasmus scheme did not go down well among member states, and did register in Brussels. The problem, though, is people are starting to think it's a bit of a facade, because when you move on to specific portfolios, whether that's youth mobility or Erasmus, the answer is always no. Erasmus, established in 1987, is a program which allows university students to work or study in participating EU countries and beyond. Officials said they were surprised by the snub, as re-entry into the student exchange program was thought as something a pro-European British government would jump at. A second diplomat said, "Constructive rhetoric is all very nice, but as long as fundamentally nothing changes in the UK position, I don't see how the status quo changes." Earlier in 2024, the Labour Party announced it also had no plans for a youth mobility scheme, which evolved into an extremely negative take on the policy and meetings behind the scenes, the EU diplomat said. The scheme would see 18 to 30-year-olds given affordable visas to live abroad for up to 4 years. But when pushed, Starmer likened the idea to a return to freedom of movement, which he is against. The Labour leader may also be wary of signing up for anything that could be seen as pro-Brexit, in case it bolsters support for the ever-growing anti-immigration Reform UK party. It would seem Starmer has his own separate priorities, which could bring the UK closer to the EU, like a deal to reduce border bureaucracy at the border at Dover. A UK government spokesperson said, "We've had very positive engagement in our early conversations as we work to reset the relationship with our European friends, to strengthen ties, secure a broad-based security pact, and tackle barriers to trade." Starmer also seeks mutual recognition of professional qualifications to help Britain's services sector do business abroad, and fewer restrictions on UK artists touring Europe. The Prime Minister already toured EU capitals from Berlin to Dublin to get his reset message across, but the move didn't come off as hoped. The visits raised suspicions in Brussels that London may be trying to find ways to work around the European Commission by going directly to national capitals. Another EU official described this idea that Brussels could be bypassed as completely inaccurate and legally wrong, and said member states would have almost zero influence as the negotiating mandate has already been set. On the surface, the mood around the EU reset is still positive, as UK ministers prepare for more trips to Europe in the coming months. But, one EU official warned, there could be trouble ahead if these narratives are not turned into actions when we move from rhetoric to business. In other news, multiple migrants have died while attempting to cross the English Channel, French authorities have confirmed. At least 8 people are understood to have died overnight while attempting to make the treacherous journey to Britain. French authorities were called shortly after 1:15 a.m. after being alerted to an incident on a small boat boarded by as many as 50 people. The vessel found itself in difficulty just shortly off the coast of France. Jacques Billon, prefect of the Pas-de-Calais region, said, "Several migrants lost their lives again in the town of Ambleteuse while trying to reach Great Britain as part of a sea crossing of the Channel." A UK government spokesperson said, "We can confirm there has been an incident in the Channel involving a small boat in French waters." French authorities are leading the response and investigation. We will not be commenting further at this stage. It comes after French authorities rescued more than 200 people off coast of Calais over a 24-hour period between Friday and Saturday night. More than 21,000 people have crossed the English Channel in small boats so far this year. Only 2022 has seen more people making the journey by this point in the calendar year. So far, more than 30 people have died attempting to reach the coast of Britain in 2024. Earlier this month, at least 12 people died when a boat loaded with dozens of migrants got into difficulty. A pregnant woman and 6 children were among those killed in the incident on September 3rd, with up to 65 people rescued off the coast of Cap Gris-Nez. A disgraceful and undignified botched attempt to relocate a war memorial has left residents and veterans in uproar at their local council. The Avon Tyres Company Memorial in Melksham, Wiltshire, had stood outside Avon Tyres' successor firm, Cooper Tire, and Rubber Company's factory for years. But when it closed down last December, bungling contractors tried and failed to move it. Melksham Town Council had planned to rescue the memorial, which contains an honour roll of 102 tyre company employees who died in the World Wars. At an Economic Development and Planning Committee meeting in January, councillors agreed to transfer it to storage before a decision was made on where to relocate it. However, when movers tried to shift the memorial, a copper book on a stone plinth, they found it to be more substantial than expected. As a result, the monument has been left jutting out of the grass outside the former Cooper Tire and Rubber Company buildings for months, gathering dust and shrouded in orange plastic fencing. Mike Jackson, who served for 6 years in the Army's Duke of Edinburgh's Royal Regiment, said leaving the memorial in its current state was disgraceful. The veteran said, "We've got Remembrance Sunday coming up. It almost makes you feel like they're just ticking boxes when they celebrate the day, because the rest of the year they don't seem to care. This is a monument to the workers who gave their lives during the wars, and it's just been dumped onto the grass with no due care or attention. It's undignified." Jackson has said he would like to see the monument relocated to his current workplace, Avon Protection, which owned Avon Tyres before it was sold to Cooper. But the council has indicated its plans are to move it to a local garden. A spokesman from the authority said, "Unfortunately, when contractors attempted to remove the memorial from the ground, it was embedded with a more substantial base than was expected. Matters are in hand to relocate the memorial to the Queen Mary Garden so that it remains on view to former Cooper Tire and Rubber Company employees and the public, until Melksham Town Council makes a decision on its final location." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.